We just want to now take this time to welcome you all to our Covering General Conference webinar. And we hope that you will learn something new today and be able to take some things back to your conference communication staff and be able to share experiences with your colleagues while on this call. So let's now just take a moment to pray. Our Father, we thank you for this day. Thank you for allowing us another opportunity to do the work of the kingdom. Now allow us during this time for us to have conversations around the work ahead, which we know can be a time of new connections, a time of exhaustion, and a time of reflection for the future. Thank you for giving us this time together today. We ask all these things in your name. Amen. I would now like to give Tim Tan an opportunity to provide opening remarks.
Okay, thanks, Rita. All right, well, good morning, everybody. Hope you all are doing well this morning in your various time zones. Thank you for being on this call today. This is a call that we've been looking forward to, and with General Conference a little more than a month away, we wanted to take some time to visit with you about preparations and what to expect, and we want to share with you what we know, but the primary purpose of this meeting is to have conversation and to talk about how we can partner together and to hear your needs and your questions that aware of, so that we can help you and be in ministry with you. So please, as the meeting progresses, do ask questions, offer suggestions. If you've been to General Conference before, please feel free to chime in with tips or advice. A lot of attention, of course, is being focused on General Conference in the church, and it's easy to get overwhelmed by the information and the scale of the event. So I want to offer you just a few pointers to keep in mind. The first is that General Conference at its essence is a big church meeting. We'll have moments of worship. We'll have important legislative moments as well, and there will be other special observances. But at its heart, it is a meeting. So take it day by day. Enjoy the moments that you can, and there will be many memorable, I think, and even fun moments. And also take advantage of the opportunity that this affords. I mean, this is a wonderful opportunity for all of us as communicators to serve the church and to frankly up the ministry of communications as we do so. But there will be a lot of people around the connection who will be looking to us, to you, for information, for reports and content, and just for connection. So just embrace this as the opportunity that it is for us to be in ministry together, and just take it day by day. Remember that you are not alone. Whether you're in Tampa or whether you're covering General Conference from home, you are part of a community of communicators, and that includes the General Conference Newsroom team. So we are, we're all in this together. You will have email addresses and phone numbers so that you can be in touch, and we can be in touch with you, not only during General Conference, but in the weeks leading up to it. So just please do know that you are not alone, and that what we really want to do with this meeting and as we go forward to General Conference is find ways that we can work most effectively together. Finally, the Commission on General Conference has designed this year's assembly in such a way that they're trying to minimize the likelihood of delegate burnout. And that only means good things for all of us as communicators. This year, the General Conference has placed the daily worship at the end of the day instead of at the beginning of the day, partly in an effort, I think, to provide a good close point to each day's work and to ensure that the delegates have a natural point to end their work for the day and have a good night's rest. And this was something that the General Conference Secretary Jerry Reese emphasized in a recent series of Central Conference briefings that we had in Manila and Harare. So, we will, we will be in a much better position to pace ourselves and to have a lot of good energy to get us through the 2 weeks. So, I just wanted to offer those points to keep in mind. The most important of which is that you are not alone and that we are taking on this ministry as a community of communicators. So I'll turn it over to Roya or Kathy for the ground rules.
Good morning and welcome. I want to take just a minute, as it's great to see the list of names on the side of the people that are part of this, but there's some of them that I can't yet put a face with, and I think you'll be a new part of our community that we have at General Conference, and so we're looking to put names and faces together. But it dawned on me, you may not know all the people that are in this room, that you've probably seen our names, but so I want to take just a minute to introduce, start with Roya, who opened for us, Roya James, Diane Degnan, Jacob Lee, Tim Tanton. I'm Kathy Noble, and she's hiding, but Sheila Mayfield is making all the magic of this work, so keeping us together. So we're all glad to be here. We'll all look forward to sharing time with you in the General Conference room. Just to make this flow a little more easily and so we can get everybody involved as they want to be, but we're not stepping on each other. Just a few ground rules. If you do want to make a comment, if you will raise your hand, I think if you go up at the top, you see the little person, the little icon with its hand raised up there. If you click on that, there's a way to click on there, raise your hand, and it'll show, and so we'll know that we need to call on you for either a comment or a question. You're also welcome to over on the Q&A if you want to post questions over there, and we'll watch that as closely as we can. If we do miss something, though, just nudge us with the icon so we can get you in the conversation. At the same time, if you're just listening, please do mute your phone so that if there's conversation in your office or you're typing, we don't share that with everybody else. There may be some questions that we don't get to on the webinar today. So if there are, I invite you to send those either to Roy or myself, and if we're not the ones to answer them, we'll get them to the person who is. We will give you some other email addresses for some specific topics. But and just to say, as Tim said, you're not alone at General Conference. You're not alone in getting ready for General Conference. So we want to support you in all the ways we can, because we do want to form a team that will work together throughout this time. An important part of that team, we hope that we will be helpful to you, but one of the most valuable resources you will have at General Conference are your colleague communicators from the annual conferences and the other general agencies. And one of the things that we asked some of the veterans is for some tips that they would want to share with you as far as what they're doing to get ready for General Conference. And Greg Nelson is on the phone. Greg, you shared some things that you're doing to get ready for General Conference. You want to share those with the larger group?
Oh, that would presume that I'd remember to keep my notes.
You were talking about preparing your website.
Right. I think the main thing is, for me, has been trying to think that the website's ready and thinking about the different kind of conversations we'll have. We'll get a lot of straight news from the news service, but also wanting to work with the delegations so that they're thinking about writing the personal pieces that are about our conference, making sure the website has a place for those and that people in our conference know where to go look for them, and to just be prepared to sort of have all the structure in place so that when it comes time to go to conference, I'm not saying, oh, I wish I had a web page for that and I'm having to build it. And instead, the page is already in place, it has the background information, it's got the basic links, and then we add to it as information comes down the pipe.
Okay. Thanks, Greg. Art McClanahan, you were talking about some of the things that you're doing to get yourself ready, not personally that you're using to get ready. Art, are you still there?
His phone might be muted.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Do a star 6 to unmute its phone.
All right. You may need to unmute your phone. Okay. Well, we'll hope to get Art back on after a bit. One of the things that he mentioned, several people mentioned, was walking and biking more, just exercising. You very well may do more walking at General Conference than you do on an ordinary basis, but also trying to rest more. And as Tim said, as Roy has said, as you'll hear several times, if you've been to General Conference before, remembering the enriching and the fun moments. It's a lot of work, but there's also a lot of fun in it too. And it happens particularly if you happen to be in the newsroom. So, so with those tips, we'll come back with some other tips later. But if you're going to be in the newsroom, one of the things that you have to have is credentials. And so we've asked Diane to address that.
Hi, I'm Diane Degnan, and I lead the public information team at United Methodist Communications, and we're going to be responsible for the media credentialing process. We started accepting applications for media credentials last week, and I know that many of you have already applied. We've had probably about 40 applications or so already. If you haven't applied, you will need to have media credentials in order to have access to the newsroom, to the news conferences, to the media seating for General Conference, and to get access to take photos on the floor. And if you have multiple people who are covering General Conference, then you need to get credentials for each of those people who are covering it. So to apply, you want to go to either gc2012.umc.org and click on Application for Media Credentials, or you can just go to gc2012.umc.org/media credentials. You can apply either online or by mail, so you can print a form and mail it in if you prefer, or you can just apply online. If you do apply online, once you've submitted all your information, you should get an on-screen confirmation that tells you that that your application has been received, and you should also get an email that says that your request has been received and will be considered. The email would come from presscenter@umcom.org. So you may need to add that to your approved addresses so it doesn't end up in your spam filter. And subsequent emails would also come from that address. Once your application has been approved, you'll get an additional email telling you that it's been approved and how to pick up your credentials. We'll be reviewing those every few days, so you should hear within a week of application at the latest about your approval. Probably about 20 people have already received their approvals, and there's another 15 or 20, I think, that are ready to be emailed out today. So you'll pick up your credentials in the newsroom starting April 24th at 8 a.m. You can pick them up, or anytime during General Conference if you're arriving later than that. You can apply at the newsroom for credentials if you don't apply ahead of time. The latest to be pre-approved is April 13th. So apply online or send in your application by April 13th, or you can just apply in the newsroom. Those who are pre-approved for credentials will be added to a distribution list, and you'll get additional information if there's any that you need about that. Also news releases, media advisories during General Conference about press briefing times and things like that. And you'll be added to the distribution list for news stories as well, I think. So I think that is about all of the information I have. Are there questions? Anyone have questions?
Don't forget to unmute it.
If you do have a question, you'll need to unmute your mic. Star 6 is Star 6 is how you unmute your mic.
Okay, Art, did you have a question? I saw where your hand was raised. Did you want to make a comment regarding the tip that Kathy was talking about?
I can do that. I can do that at any point.
Okay, go ahead.
Well, I'm not sure what section, Kathy, you were looking to get a response to about, first time sort of things, staying fit, among other things, getting a lot of water, and for me, minimizing the coffee, having access to healthy snacks, also knowing that there's more to be done than anybody can do. So keep yourself in check about what's reasonable to expect to be accomplished, and then not stress over that. And you also talked about relying, or you or Tim talked about relying on the network of colleagues and how important that is to support each other. And I guess the last thing that I would add for me is find something to enjoy or have a laugh when appropriate, so that you can not get bogged down with some of the heavy conversations and debates that would weigh us all down.
Great, Art. Thank you. And we'll talk some more about things to keep yourself going during General Conference, but that's a great intro. And I think, Roya, you've got some tips now about getting ready with your delegation.
Anna Marie had a question, I believe.
Oh, Anne Marie, you had a question. I'm sorry, I missed that. You may need to unmute, which is star 6.
Okay, well, Anne Marie is getting that, is trying to unmute her phone. Another part of the question that Kathy asked was, what are you doing to get ready for General Conference with your delegation? And a couple of the responses that came in included meeting with the delegation to exchange contact information. You really want to make sure that once you get to General Conference that you have a way to contact your delegates. Another one was review media training tips, prepare delegation on how to talk with the media. A lot of people responded on that, and I think obviously we want them to be prepared in that area. Does anyone else have any comments in regards to meeting with your delegation, or what you would do to get ready for General Conference with your delegates?
Okay, Joanne Utley has a question.
Joanne?
Joanne, do you have your phone unmuted?
Oh, okay. I don't see Joanne's yet, but Annette had a question regarding guests. And she was saying, what if you had guest workers who needed to visit us in the press room? How do they handle that?
Guests are welcome in the press room. The press room is for working press, working communicators. So if you have a guest, then please just have them go to the front desk, the registration desk, and ask for you. And then you can meet them at the desk and escort them to your workplace or to the newsroom lounge, and and have your time with your guests.
Catherine Whitty, if you'll see over on the chat, added a point of making a card, a small card that folded to the size of a business card that has a list of delegates, hotels, cell numbers, and committees. And that's a great way to keep track of people without having to necessarily use all the books.
There's Anne Marie's question. Anne Marie's asking what kind of access you get with the press credentials. So that gives you, there's media seating area for the General Conference sessions. Tim, I think, will talk about photo passes for the floor, but you'll need media credentials in order to get the photo access. You need media credentials to get access to the newsroom where you'll be working, And then there will be a press conference area inside the newsroom where we'll set up interviews to help facilitate your story writing, and you'll need media credentials for that as well.
Mike.
Greg, you have a question? Greg Nelson?
Yeah, Diane, does the press pass give you, when the legislative committee meetings are meeting, sometimes the gallery areas can be full. Does the press pass give you a different authority for getting into legislative meetings?
I don't think that it does.
No.
I don't think there's media seating areas that are reserved in the legislative committees.
But that's something we will check in with the General Conference Manager's office on reserved seating. But often those meetings are packed and even overflowing. So, but let us check on that, Greg, and see what we might be able to to arrange.
Yeah, I vaguely remember previous conferences there was some preference there to be able to let the communication process continue about those committees.
There's a question from Amanda.
Yeah, she's asking about the plenary floor. Where will the press meeting seating be as far as the plenary floor?
I've not seen where it's planned for this time. I know that at the 2008 General Conference it was near the front on the left side, so it was good seating. But I haven't seen. Maybe Tim has seen the diagram.
I think it will be comparably placed to where it was in 2008, and we'll be sitting. And this seems to be becoming a tradition. We'll be sitting next to the bishop's spouses section, which affords a good view of the stage and the business of General Conference.
Anne Marie, you had a question about whether delegates should use the GC 2012 hashtag or a more specific one for the conference. Diane, do you want to address that?
I would recommend that unless they're trying to facilitate communication just between that group, that you just use the GC 2012 hashtag, because people will be searching for that hashtag and those comments for the larger conversation. But if you're looking for a way to use Twitter to just communicate within your delegation, you may want a separate hashtag because you wouldn't have to wade through so many tweets to see those. So I think it depends on your objective. If you want your tweet to be seen, you want to use GC 2012.
These are great questions, and I think we could probably come back to some more as we get in. But Raya, you want to talk a little bit, maybe do one more tip about with delegations, and we can kind of move into the newsroom and the UMNS and conference team during General Conference. So.
Just from a general agency perspective, is Colette Nyes on the phone?
Yes, Ray, I am.
Well, okay. Would you like to share something that you submitted in regards to preparing for General Conference?
Would I like to? I wouldn't remember what I told you.
Okay.
Well, preparation, I mean, from our agency maybe is a little different than some of the conferences. You know, in preparation for General Conference, I mean, we've been preparing communications certainly for the delegations. We're also preparing our, senior leadership to be able to respond to General Conference, as well as to address the General Conference during a plenary session.
Okay. Thank you.
Is that what you were thinking, Roy?
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Okay.
I think we're going to just move forward with conference headers and the UMNS staff. We will hear from Maggie, Hillary, and Tim.
All right. The United Methodist News Service will be coordinating coverage of General Conference, but as I mentioned at the beginning of this call, this really is a team, a team ministry. So what we want to do is find as many ways to collaborate with all the communicators in the church in telling the stories of General Conference. We will be providing coverage of all the major decisions and events that occur during General Conference. We'll also be providing a daily wrap-up, which seemed to be quite popular over the last 2 General Conferences. We'll be, I'll get more into our newsroom operation in a minute, but we will have daily news meetings, and we'll be inviting, all the, church communicators, general agency communicators, United Methodist Reporter, the Daily Christian Advocate to be in there with us. I'd like to really turn the floor over to Maggie. If Maggie, are you on the call?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, great.
Yes, would you like to, Maggie's been doing a lot of planning with the team around coverage, and Maggie, would you like to share with, with the group?
Well, what I'm hoping to do is get some information from all of you, because my objective here is to make all of our efforts a little more efficient, not double teamed. So some of the things that I'm going to be getting back with you, all of us will be getting back with you, but some of the things I need to know are things such as, are there issues that major issues with General Conference that your conference has a particular interest in? Are you planning to cover those issues? If you are, we need to talk about it, because we may be too, and there's no sense in both of us. I also need to have a better expectation of how often you want to update your website, some of the things that you will be trying to do each day that you may need some help from us. So I'd like to get some feedback from all of you on what your expectations are. We have a number of kind of complicated issues, and best to understand at the moment. Some of them are going to be running in and out of different committees. So let me hear back from some of you if you can give me just a reaction here.
Okay. In addition to stories, of course, we'll be providing a few hundred photographs during General Conference. We'll have a team of 4 top-notch photographers shooting just about every aspect of General Conference, typically focused on providing content in Spanish, Korean, and French. And Jacob Lee, who's sitting with me here, is directing our Korean team, and Amanda Backus, who's on the call, is doing the same for our Spanish team. And I'm very happy to announce that Isaac Brune from Côte d'Ivoire will be staffing our French desk. In addition, we'll have a radio ministry team led by Art McClanahan and Laura Allen, and we'll have a video production crew and other teams that are also going to be focusing on providing what will amount to a pretty comprehensive multimedia treatment of General Conference. One feature during General Conference that will be valuable to all of us will be the press conferences, and Diane mentioned those a moment ago. But Diane, is there anything else you'd like to add about the press conferences?
We'll be the press conference room will be right adjacent to the newsroom, and we'll be setting up press conferences pretty much daily. I don't know if there will be one every day. Some days there may be more than one, depending on what's going on, in order to facilitate access to people that you'll want to hear from and want to ask questions of. In addition to that, we're going to be looking at, my team will be looking at doing some conversational kind of interviews with some of the key people at General Conference that we'll have available online as well. And we'll be posting the press conference information in the newsroom and we'll send out some media advisories as well to let you know when there's something planned in case you're not on site.
Tim, could I add one more thing here?
Yes, please.
I've just gotten in my email a note from Holly. I think Holly may be on with it, I'm not sure, in which she's forwarded a couple of stories out of the Oklahoma Conference's newspaper, which will be of help to us. A couple of days ago, Neil and I connected on some stories that they have in the Advocate. And I'd also like all of you to think about some of the stories you've done recently in your conferences about issues that are going before General Conference. Give us a heads up on what those are, because they could be of great value to us in helping us to set the scene as we go into General Conference. And we certainly would like to get those stories from each of your individual conferences. So think about what you already have worked and published, as well as the things that you know are of particular interest to you. And if we can kind of line all those up, I think we can all help each other a great deal.
Maggie, you had some other things that you, when we were chatting, that you were hoping that some of the communicators might be able to help you with identifying some folks and providing some leads. Would you like to talk a little bit more about those?
Well, one of the things we're hoping to do is we're hoping to get some bloggers, some delegations, in fact, that might blog for us, or some delegations that might agree to have some of their members do that. We just like to get perspective from people as they are conference delegates, whether they are new delegates, whether they've been there for 6 conferences, whatever. And we'd like to get them from everywhere. So what we'd like is a place, we'll set up the blog, we'd like a place where people could just turn to get a sense of the perspective of the people who are conference delegates. So if you could kind of think about that, think if you have a group or an individual that you think might be willing to do this, and let me know about it. The other thing we'd kind of like to do, if you're willing to do it, is we'd kind of like to offer you something, I'm going to call it a bug for lack of a better word, but a bug to put on your pages so that it will link your people to a direct, to a place on our site where they can post comments or ask questions, and we can try to answer their questions or field their comments so that those folks who are not at the conference still feel like they have a way to connect with the conference as it is going on. So if you don't mind, if you'd be willing to work with us on that, we would much appreciate it. And of course, everything we're doing is available to you. So, you know, whatever works best on this, if you want to, for instance, you get questions from your delegation, or we get questions from your delegation, and you want to pull those out and take them back to your own page, that's great. We'll work with you to figure out how to set it up. But what we're trying to do as much as possible is to direct this coverage not toward the core group of people who are going to be there, but the millions of other people who aren't going to be there, so that we can try to connect them as much as possible.
Laura had a question. She might want to start 6 or something.
Laura, you have a question. Would you like to ask that of the group? It's not. Kelly Robertson, I think you had the
Kelly, this is Diane. Kelly had a comment about the presentation that I did at the pre-General Conference briefing and using it for your delegation, and so I'm happy to share that if you need it. I'll have to give you access via Dropbox because it's too large to email, but just send me an email, ddagnan@umcom.org, if you are interested in using it, and I'll be happy to share.
When they send the names of people who are wanting to blog, do they need to let you know who's blogging?
If you have names of people that are Tim, you wanted to say something about legislative committees and the DCA?
Yes, thanks, Kathy. One of the important areas of collaboration for all of us will be working with the Daily Christian Advocate. And the Daily Christian Advocate, for those of you who might be going through General Conference the first time, is sort of a combination of a daily news magazine almost and the Congressional Record of General Conference. And one of our important tasks during the first week will be covering the work of the Legislative Committee. So I just want to put that out there. If there are particular legislative issues that you're interested in or have been following, please let us know about that. One thing that we're going to be doing between now and General Conference is working with the DCA to come up with a schedule for coverage, and we'll be very appreciative of any communicators who would be willing to partner with us in covering those legislative committee meetings.
And we might say for the two people that are covering them officially, they will have a seat in the legislative committee room, so that might be an incentive to volunteer for that.
Do we have Barbara Dunlap-Berg on the line?
She's on.
Okay, Barbara is going to be working with the DCA along with, of course, the publishing house staff and others, and just wanted to give her an opportunity to speak if you have anything to share. Otherwise, we can move on.
The one other thing that we would ask your help with, if you're, again, and all of this is if you are willing to do this, is if your bishop is preaching for one of the worship services, and you would be able to help us with covering that service or at least providing a manuscript of the sermon, that would be extremely helpful. Again, we're kind of asking you to do a story that you probably would be doing anyway, but we do have that schedule, so we'll be in conversation with those of you who have bishops who are preaching during General Conference to see if you might be able to help us with that. Are there any other questions that we need to answer before we move on? I'm not...
Colette has her hand up.
Okay, Colette, you have a question?
Yes, thanks, Kathy. This, I guess, is a follow-up to what Maggie was talking about the stories or the issues, of value to the news service and how to line them up. We're in a little different situation than the conferences as a general agency, but last time, I think with the General Conference, we provided you with a listing of issues so you were aware of what might be coming at General Conference, or at least in regard to our agency. Do you want us to do that again so that you're aware of that, or how do we work with you on developing coverage or stories?
Yes, that would be extremely helpful, Colette. Yeah, go ahead.
Please, Colette, go ahead and send to us whatever you have. We have also, for the last week and a half or 2 weeks, we've sort of divided up the advanced DCA, and we've been going through it as best we can go through it, and created, one thing we have created at the moment is we've put all of those things that all of those petitions, the committees are going to be identifying numbers and all the ways to identify them together, and we're trying to create a database we can search by keywords and pull out some of the common things that we're interested in. And I'm waiting on a call from somebody else, hoping we can pull that together pretty soon. All of you are welcome to that as well. So we would love to have what you want to send us, and we compare notes on that with what we already have, and that would be very useful. Thank you.
Okay. Could I ask one more question?
Sure.
When you talk about General Conference in general, and Kathy mentioned getting manuscripts of the bishop's presentations or sermons, we a number of the agencies I believe will have time on the plenary floor of General Conference. How do we work with UMCOM on that? As far as giving you materials in advance, working with you to make sure that the equipment requirements are in, and what the videos are and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that is we need to have those conversations with you offline sometime between now and when General Conference starts, because we'll want to have some other colleagues on the line when we talk about that, since there's a technical dimension to that. In terms of a coverage, strictly from the coverage standpoint, any materials and information that you can get to us as far in advance as possible is always a good best practice, and that helps us get up to speed. But I think I think in terms of the bigger question that you're asking about presentation support, Colette, let's arrange some time offline to to talk about that, and we'll make sure we have the other colleagues in the conversation who can best help.
Okay, thank you, Tim.
Thank you so much for your questions, and I think this is being, hopefully it's a helpful conversation for us. We hope it is for you as well. One of the other things that we asked people on tips, and Art addressed this a bit, was how you keep yourself healthy during those days that are physically, emotionally, and spiritually wearing. And Art was talking about the healthy snacks, drinking lots of water, be sure you get some exercise. And I would say exercise and eat healthy were probably the things that came up the most. I mean, it can be a real temptation when you're busy and there's all kinds of things around not to do that. But one person said that she makes time every day for at least one good meal a day with friends. So feeding her spirit as well as feeding her body, and to laugh and share hope. Someone else mentioned finding some alone time, even if it's taking a walk or wherever, someplace you're going, but just getting some time by yourself, because you're with hundreds and thousands of people literally all day long, but to give yourself some time. Taking time to either participate in worship or do your own devotional thing. Laughing. Comfortable shoes. If there was one suggestion that came up over and over and over, it was comfortable shoes. Don't worry about fashion with your shoes. Do something like that. And use it as an opportunity to make new friends. And some of those might almost seem a little bit self-evident, but they really do. They help keep you balanced and going, and so that you're not sick. You may be tired, but you won't be sick at the end of General Conference. So I'm going to move back to Tim now, and we want to talk a little bit about some of the specifics of the newsroom operation and some of those logistics.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Kathy. Yeah, the newsroom, in one sense, will be a home away from home. Not that I'm encouraging anybody to sleep in the newsroom, but we want it to be as welcoming as possible for you, and to provide the resources that you need as much as possible. So the newsroom will be open officially from 8 a.m. to 10:30 p.m. each day, Monday through Saturday, and Sunday hours will be posted. They will be shorter. The newsroom will officially open on Tuesday, April 24th, the opening day of General Conference, at 8 o'clock. However, we'll be setting up the newsroom the weekend before, and there will be folks working in the newsroom that Monday. And if you need a place to work on Monday, then just come by, and we'll be glad to connect with you and welcome you. The newsroom, as I mentioned a few minutes ago, is reserved for working press only. And Diane has shared with you about the accreditation process. We want to be hospitable to guests and visitors, and we will be, and they're certainly welcome. We will also, however, be vigilant about folks coming into the newsroom to lobby communicators and secular journalists. That is not what the newsroom is for. I'm sorry? Okay. I thought I heard somebody say something. There will, of course, as has already been mentioned, be seating for accredited press on in the plenary hall. We will have photo passes. We'll have a limited number of them, and they will be available for periods of an hour at a time. And this is to make sure that everybody has a chance to get a photo pass as they need it. I also want to just restate that UMCOM will have a team of 4 excellent photographers led by Mike DeBose, and Kathleen Berry on our staff will be on that team, as will Paula Jeffrey and John Goodwin. And those of you who have been in the saddle for a while know the quality of the work that we're talking about, and the church will be very well served by our photography team. So they'll be shooting throughout each day and posting images online, so please keep that in mind. You don't have to shoot everything. You'll probably want to focus on certainly shooting your delegates and things that would be of interest or relevance to a story that you're working on. But keep in mind that there's going to be a nice continuing stream of photographic images for you to draw from, and we encourage you to avail yourselves of that and to use as many of them as you like. They're all free. We only ask that you credit UMNS, but they're there for you. So if you want to go on the floor and shoot, and for some reason all the photo passes are currently in use, just please be patient and wait for a few minutes to an hour, and also just keep in mind that you can find images online from the newsroom staff.
Do you want to address the Wi-Fi in the newsroom?
Yes. We are planning on having Wi-Fi in the newsroom, and we'll provide more information for you on that as General Conference approaches. The question has come up about Wi-Fi outside the newsroom in the convention center, and the word is that the convention center has very limited Wi-Fi available. The General Conference technical team is exploring affordable options for creating Wi-Fi zones where feasible, and the business manager, Alan Morrison, of the General Conference, has told us that he is optimistic that a suitable option will be identified for Wi-Fi. So once those technical reviews are complete, to allow a decision to be made, the plan will be made known to the delegates as well as everybody else through the General Conference website and other means.
Greg, about the photo pass.
Okay. Greg, you have a question about the photo pass. The registration team in the newsroom will be managing the photo passes, so just get with them. If you want to reserve one for a particular time, just let them know, and we'll note that. And otherwise, the photo passes will be available on a first-come, first-served basis. So we'll just, those will be available at the front desk.
Thanks, Tim.
Sure.
Just to remind you of some of the resources that are available both as you're covering General Conference and really are available now as you're getting ready to cover General Conference. I should say as we're getting ready to cover General Conference, because we're all using these. Sheila, can we bring up the website so we can show people where a couple of things are? One of the questions that came up at the briefing in our final session there was if the Advanced Daily Christian Advocate would be online, and at that point we did not think it would be. The good news is that it is online, so if there are things that you're wanting to look up to see if how legislation from your conference ended up, what committee it's on, you're able to do that. Now, the one thing is the DCA is all as PDFs, so it's not actually searchable, but you can do some, anyway, if you can do some digging, you can find it. But the good news is that the ADCA is online, the Advanced Daily Christian Advocate, I'm sorry. You also can find out, if you don't have that information from your delegates, what committees they are on. One of the things that we do have is that we did post all of the videos from the pre-General Conference briefing. So if you wanted to show Diane's presentation as opposed to just handing out the materials, you would be able to do that. Any of the other plenary sessions, those all were recorded, so they will be available. And those are available through, I think you probably all have this memorized by now, but if you go down, I have to think, I'm sorry, Under pre-general conference briefings, and then you can click on there, and that will click on the pre-general conference videos, and then you can find from that the particular one that you're looking for. So you have to click a couple of times, but they are there, and hopefully that's a helpful resource for you. Just to remind you of the Delegates Handbook, that's a tremendous aid for finding out about what your delegates are doing and what other delegates perhaps in your jurisdiction, that sort of thing, are doing. And that'll be a real helpful resource to use at General Conference if you're trying to get information to anyone. We know that some of you are going to be there only the second week, and we're glad that you will be there the second week. But if you're not going to be there the first week and want to watch any of the plenaries or worship, all of the plenary sessions will be streamed, which means both legislative and worship. So those are a way, if you want to do your own coverage of something, that you can do it by watching it as it happens.
And Kathy, note also about the closed-circuit TV in the newsroom.
Okay. Yes, in the newsroom, there will be closed-circuit TV that will be, again, coverage of all of the plenary, worship, legislative, whatever's going on the floor. Well, whatever's going on the stage and then possibly on the floor. But in the plenary room will be covered, so you can either cover it from the newsroom or actually being in the plenary room. We also want to remind you that the General Conference app is available now, and that can be downloaded. It became available, I think, earlier this week, and so that's available for download now. So
and they're asking about the Delegates Handbook, and where would they be able to find that? Was that on the website as well?
Okay, can you go back to the website? We'll get this here for you, just show you where I hope I didn't speak out of term, because it's supposed to all be there.
It is there.
It is there.
In English, French, and Portuguese.
Right.
The Delegates Handbook?
Yeah.
Tell me about the preachers.
Kelly, you had a question. Yes, we do have a list of the preachers for each service, and we will get that to you in the list of materials that we send out. I don't think that's online yet. If you look down there under resources for delegates, it is, okay, under that, volume 1 is the handbook for delegates.
The friendly URL? Okay, I'll type it up there in just a second.
We're getting close to the end of our time, and we want Roya to share another one of our tips about before I went to General Conference for the first time.
Yeah, and we'll keep this brief so that we can stay within our time frame. I just wanted to highlight 2 different tips that came in. I know for me, I attended General Conference for the first time in 2004, and I wish someone had told me, again, to wear comfortable shoes, because I was not prepared for that. So I knew the last time, and I will know again this year. Jim posted something. Jim from Alaska also mentioned something about being able to carry your rolling bags, and just knowing and just being aware of how much information you would need to transport back and forth each day. And someone else also mentioned that. So you might want to invest in a small rolling bag or something that that's easy to carry and take long walks with. Another thing was someone was not expected to see all of the people holding the signs and handing out materials as you walk into the convention center. And that is something that, unfortunately, and that we do have to deal with at General Conference, and just be prepared for that. Someone else mentioned that if they wish they had set boundaries for their time and just, figured out space to take breaks and just be prepared so that you're not exhausted. And I think that that's it. Did anyone else have anything to share in regards to that? And if not, we can move forward with the March 22nd webinar.
All right. Well, I wanted to just give you all sort of a heads up and a save the date item to mark on your calendars. You should be receiving an email very soon, hopefully today if you haven't received it already, about a webinar on Thursday, March 22nd at 10 o'clock Central Time with the Reverend Larry Holland, General Secretary of the United Methodist Communications. Larry has written a book that's in process right now called We Must Speak, Rethinking How We Communicate About Faith in the 21st Century. And the book takes a look at how the mainline church lost its voice in a media-saturated age and why it is imperative that the United Methodist Church amplify its voice in reaching seekers and reshaping community. So Larry wanted to get together with you as the church communicators first, simply because this is the ministry to which all of us are called. And so he wanted to share with you about that and also hear from you about communications ministry. So we will be sending you information on that, as I mentioned, just any time. And in the meantime, between now and then, I'd like to also encourage you to think about ways in which you've seen communications ministry make a difference in your area, in your conference or in your general agency, or in the other venues to which you are called to work. Because what we want to do is create a place where we can share those communications success stories. So we'll be providing more information about that as well, but I just wanted to plant that seed with you and also to ask you to save the date, March 22nd at 10 o'clock Central Time.
I want to thank all of you for being a part of the conversation this morning. We may still have a few questions, and so we'll go over those. If we missed answering them, we'll try to answer them via email, and if we don't get it answered that way, please send them to us directly, and we'll get an answer for you. This has been a great conversation. We're looking forward to seeing all of you in somewhere in the next 6 to 7 weeks in Tampa. And know that also if you're not going to be in Tampa and there are ways that we can support your coverage from home, we'll be more than glad to do that. We want to share one final tip, which was the best thing about covering General Conference on site. And this came from Steve Horswell Johnston, who most of you know is at the Board of Discipleship. This is going to be his 5th or 6th General Conference anyway, but he's been to a number of them, but started out as a conference communicator, even though he's with a general agency now. But he says the best thing about covering General Conference on site is being with fellow communicators who are exchanging stories, learning from each other, and laughing together. Truly, we are the ones who can work hard while enjoying each other's company. I expect that if I get too caught up in the whole expanse of General Conference, one of my colleagues will pat me on the head and say, "Steve, don't take it so seriously." Truly, the body of Christ will outlive General Conference. So I think if we can, and we all will be serving the church as we do that. So again, we want to thank you. We will be sending you some information. We'll be sending you the list of the preachers for the evening worship services. We'll be sending you Amy's media guide and the tips that we shared today, as well as some others, and we may find some other things to include in that email, Roya. So thank you for being a part of this, and we'll look forward to having you with us on March 22nd.